Maybe looking at the stars all night. Now I'm thinking I can.
Hi everybody, it's Noelle O'Donnell with She Lives Inspired, and today I have my second guest on the show. His name is Cifuni,
Jesse.
and he's one of my close friends for the past, I don't know how long, a long time. Years. And he's been on a spiritual quest for how long?
My whole life.
Okay. And I brought him on the show because I think he's an interesting character, and I think that you would learn so much from him and his journey, and I hope you enjoy the show. So, my first question is, how did you get here today? Where did you come from?
Where'd I come from? Should ask my mother. But awareness of truth. I've always been searching and seeking truth, something higher, something greater than myself. Science is where I found a lot of my answers. Right? I feel like God made this stuff. So if we could dissect it or look into it or get down to the smallest particles of it or even the biggest particles of it, like a universe, you might find some of the answers. And then the other spot would be spiritual, which is inside. And only you could do that within.
Right.
So I'm still searching both and still trying to find a medium.
Okay. So who has helped you on this journey? Have you had any mentors? Have there been people who've inspired you? Who's made sort of like the biggest impact in your life that has created change?
Well, besides like my own family or like coaches or teachers in my life, it would be pretty much authors, spiritual people who have, had a conversation with me through literature. I can show some of these, right? My favorite one is Celestine Prophecy. It's by a guy named James Redfield. Actually, a special book here. I love this book here. This book talks about energy.
Okay.
And specifically 4 different types of, let's say, personalities and how people, let's say, take energy from one another. It's funny how if you could look within yourself, you'll realize that people still think they need to take energy from each other, whether it's through aggression or whether it's through self-pity or interrogation or type of like an aloof, like standoffish type of way, never realizing that they have all they need from their creator. And if they keep searching in with each other, it's going to be a battle. And I'm for peace, so that's what that book's about.
Okay.
This is a book by Dr. Fulford, and he's a DO.
What is a DO for people who don't know?
It's a doctor of osteopathic medicine. So the same as an MD when it comes to licensure, but they also do manipulative medicine on a person to kind of loosen them up and strengthen them so they could heal, using their own natural abilities as well. This book, Power Now, I think a lot of people know about this one. It's pretty new.
Eckhart Tolle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tolle? I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally. This book is so interesting because in it, he was going to take his own life. And in the introduction it says, "I cannot live with myself any longer." And it starts off by like saying, how can you have an I and a myself in the same sentence? So who is the real one? So just ponder that for a little bit. He realized that the part that was going to live was the real one. So there was nothing else. And like he kind of had an awakening, his own spiritual enlightenment, so to speak. And he says we could all have that now. That's the whole thing. Everybody knows about the moment, live in the moment. And when you look at artwork, right, or if you're a race car driver, when you're driving so fast that the rubber is just barely still holding on to, let's say, the pavement or anything, these extreme sports, at that moment you're concentrating on nothing else but the present moment. Even like a weightlifter who's pushing that weight away from him. Like, people find their peace in certain places, but it's because you've stopped thinking yourself. So that's how we could all reach the now. It's immediate. We could all do it. You don't need the artwork. You don't need the majestic waterfall. You could do it right now in the comfort of your own home. That's a good take-home message. I don't even know what I would call her, but she's like a personal advisor, like a guru almost to me of some sort. And I love what she does to.
This is the book that I mentioned in the last video, the interview with Blanca Bayer. She authored Attributes of Mastery, which I just gave to Jesse as a gift, and I'm sure you'll start reading it this week.
Yeah, this is the next book I want to read. I've been at her house. I mean, I've done personal like appointments with her, and
Reiki appointments
It's
for energy healing.
she's led me on a lot of validation and on a journey that unfolded.
Yes.
This is a complete pill guide. I like this guy a lot because his name's Dr. Opler. He also signed this book. So I'm just showing you just a few of my, favorite things. Western medicine is important. He's an MD. I believe in the kind of like the unification, the bringing together, similar to what I said of like science and spirituality being two different explanations of, in my opinion, the same thing. I believe there's all different types of medicine and healing. Just like in the olden days, it was almost like the shaman or the priest who was also like a doctor. And even if you look at the roots of some of the oaths, they involve God.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the same gods we say today, but still ancient gods and mythological things of legend. This book's another favorite of mine. It's by Neil Donald Walsh. All right, it's Conversations with God. This is one of his. He's had many books. This is one of the later ones in the series. But this man believes he could actually speak to God, and God answers him in a way where he could write it like he's almost having a dialogue. And I like to say, I don't care if Einstein told me the E equals MC squared came from God, or if he told me it came from his dog. The point is the equation works. So those books work. So I don't care where he thought it came from. I'd like to believe that it came from where he said it did. And communication is, I think, a main message. You have to listen. That's something I'm working on, becoming a better listener. And you have to be able to, obviously, speak. And that's what you need to do with God. That's what I think prayer and meditation is. Prayer is the talking to God, but the meditation is listening to God. And I think so many of us don't listen, right? So can we talk more about meditation later? Or?
Yes. Well, I was going to ask you, because you talk a lot about God and you talk a lot about science, what are your views? Is there a connection? Do you believe that they're intertwined, or would you consider yourself a more spiritual person rather than religious?
That's a funny one, because if you look at like the words, what does spiritual mean? Right? It's the ritual of the spirit. Right? Break that word down. Even if you break the word religion down, it's I think they're the same, but I don't think it's in one building. I mean, like, where's that thing I wanted you to show? Like,
I'll attach a picture.
You'll attach a picture of this, but this is like the wallpaper
Bring
on my
it
cell
closer.
phone. You're not going to be able to see it, but you can see a lot of major religious beliefs. It's like, I think we all call it, like, you call it the atom, right? You can call it whatever you want. You can call it the electron. You can call it whatever you want. We all know there's positive. We all know there's negative.
Coexisting.
So you call it coexisting too, right? I believe 100% in the Creator. I believe in the universe. I believe in energy. You could call it or label it whatever you want. It's like different languages. I actually believe it's like a mountaintop. Whatever path you take to the top of the mountaintop, when you're at the top, the view is the same.
Right.
And that's how I hope we all believe in our own God.
What I really like about what you said is that there's many ways to God, or many ways to enlightenment. What are some tips you have for the viewers on how to reach that point of ascendedness? Are there tools that you have in your own back pocket that you use every day? Is there a ritual that you do every day to help you connect with your source? Do you meditate?
Let me show you a trick.
Okay.
Let me show you a trick. I brought some props. I learned this in undergrad from my physics teacher. So if you want to talk about science and spirituality, just think this one through for a second. If what you know is within the circle, right, the area, right, you see that circle. So if you know that much, if what's on the outside is what you don't know, as I know more. So now I know more. So the inside of the circle is what I know, but the outside of the circle is what I don't know. So the more I know, the more I don't know. So you think that one through. Think of what wisdom is, right? Think of what knowledge is. Think of what reason is. Think of what truth is. More importantly, it's kind of like, what's God's will? Because I'm going to search in every direction in the world. If I could read every book in the world, I would. And I'm sure through history there's people smarter than me, and there's people dumber than me. And I'm sure 1,000 years ago, when there was things on parchments and script, when you unroll, I'm sure there was people who try to read all that. Now if I go on the internet and try to read all that, you'll never read all that. And that's the point, is can you find your own serenity within? And that's what I'm trying to say. It's still a within journey. And I think that's what the true truth is. I need the help, and I need the people like you. I need the people like the books, and I need the people like the schools. But when it really comes down to it, at the end of the day, when you rest your head on that pillow, what have you done for your spirituality, right? You know, you go to the gym. Fitness is very important. Keep my body alive. But what about keeping my soul alive? What about keeping my thoughts? I believe you could pick your thoughts like you pick an outfit. Choose it. Like did you put this on today? Did you put, pick your thoughts. Don't have angry thoughts, right? Don't have lazy thoughts, right? However you want to do that. However you want to think about that. Be loving, not fearful. To a certain degree, hopefully we could do that. And if not, we have to ask for help. Meditation is big for me, right?
How do you meditate?
Every morning I meditate, right? And I pray also. And the praying, like I said earlier. And then the meditation to me, it's like, I'm like a chef, right? I used to make pizza. There's many things I used to do. I am many things. That joke. Anybody ever cut a tomato? Anybody out there? I think we all have, right? When you cut that tomato, do you ever have that skin kind of like press down and like make it juice a little bit? Sharpen the knife, right? If you sharpen the knife, it only takes a few seconds. And then when you cut, it goes right through that skin, makes perfect cubes, anything you want, slices, whatever you want. That's my analogy for meditation. It only takes me a few minutes in the morning, right? You could start with 1 minute. I started with 1 minute. I stared at the clock until I seen the number turn. I have also meditated for 3 hours. I've also ran a marathon. The point is, it's not about the distance. It's about, do you work out every day at the gym, even if it's 40 minutes, 30 minutes? Same concept with the meditation. It's not about the distance. You just start somewhere. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 10 minutes. That's my average, is 10 minutes a day.
But it's consistent and it's disciplined. Mm-hmm. Something that you're doing every day.
It's a commitment. And a lot of people, they rush. Oh my God, the alarm. I got to get out of bed. I got to run. I got things to do. I got work. I got school. Maybe you got kids. You got this. You got that. But again, with that knife analogy, if I make a mess, it takes the same amount of time to do something right as it does to do something wrong. Because if I do it wrong, I got to clean it up, and that's going to take this. So you might as well just do it right. So if you start with this meditation, you start with this prayer in the morning, you have a routine, a commitment to yourself, to your creator, whatever it is. You're going to have perfect cubes, so to speak, and that's great. I got one more cooking analogy. Can I say it? Mm-hmm. This one's about anger. If you're ever making gravy, right? You're making sauce, whatever you call it. You could, once you put too much spice in, let's use salt as an example. Everybody knows what salt is. But you got a big pot, you're cooking it, bang on the stove. It's hours, it's on there. If you throw a little bit of salt, you could always taste it, right? And then if you need more, you could add more. It's like anger, right? Your loved one, your family member, your child, whatever it is. If you say something that you shouldn't have said, you can't take it back, right? You can't unring the bell, right? You hear these things? So you can't take the spice out. You can't unsalt a pot. It's in there, you're done. You got to throw the whole thing out. So that's another way to live your life is to, you could always say it later if it's worth saying. Okay. And if it's not.
I was going to say, what's the take-home message then?
It's about calmness and it's about peace.
How do you cope with anger then?
I'm probably the wrong guy. I'm not going to give you that. It's not. But I cope with it by, my knee-jerk reaction today is to pray. The knee-jerk reaction changes through these practices that I'm saying, these spiritual practices that we live. Right. Whether it's the reading, whether it's the working out in the spiritual ways or the physical ways, and then the thoughts, and just really changing yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. It becomes a knee-jerk reaction almost to do the right thing instead of the wrong thing. And that's what it's all about. We're forming a lifestyle here.